Welcome to episode 8 of the Transformation series, and today I'm going to be talking about your calorie intake and how it doesn't need to be a fixed amount every single day. We can move through less intake, more intake on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis. Days you're not hungry, you might not find that you want to hit that extra 200-300 calories that you've been targeted. That's absolutely fine. It's not a target that you need to hit. But on those days where you are going to feel a little bit hungrier, it's nice to know that you can shift those 300 calories to those particular days, and on net balance, your calorie intake is correct for the deficit that you require. It's about giving yourself what's called an unconditional permission to eat. Because what a lot of the research shows is that when we apply restriction, it's not necessarily the restriction that's the issue, it's our perception of that restriction that is going to affect dietary adherence. So, if we build in tools that allow you to diet more aggressively when you feel motivated to do so, come back to maintenance when you're having a tough day, you're starting to put into place tools that allow you to control the restriction or lack of restriction when it suits you, and you will start to feel much more empowered by the control you now have over your calorie intake, as opposed to being, I must hit 1500 or whatever calorie intake it might be every single day. If I don't do that, I have failed. You get days where, let's say the calorie target is 1500. You'll eat 1200 calories and think, I'm full, I'm done. That's absolutely fine. There's no harm in going a bit more aggressive with things. In fact, there's not a lot of research that suggests that an extreme calorie deficit does have a detrimental effect. In fact, a lot of the research is quite favourable to it. Quicker weight loss, more sustained weight loss off the back of it, and less metabolic adaptation than has been expected. Now, that isn't me saying extreme calorie deficits are the way to go. Remember, guys, it's your perception of that deficit which will ultimately affect your adherence and your success. So please don't all just go into a crazy massive calorie deficit, but understand when your motivation allows or you feel the need to, you can go very aggressive with a calorie deficit and then just come back closer to maintenance. You might find that for 3 days you go quite aggressive, bit of stress comes along or you're just a bit hungrier, bring the calories back up to maintenance, give yourself more calories to consume in a day and manage the deficit to suit you. What you'll find is long-term adherence is much, much better and overall fat loss results are much better. This is where I like to build an understanding of intakes and tools you can use at any given time. What we shouldn't be doing as trainers is giving you a one method that you must stick to. We should be educating you to have an array of tools that you can use at any given point to suit you and your particular circumstances at any given time. Whether that be learning how to aggressively diet with huge calorie deficits, what it is like to manage a calorie maintenance, intermittent fasting, actively skipping breakfast for say, how to build good habits about including fruits and veg and high fiber and lots of protein in your intakes, teaching you that it's okay to have the sweet treats that you like as long as they're tracked. Long term, it seems to always do better for people than going, you can't eat this, you can't eat this, you can't eat this. Again, perception of restriction. If I as a trainer say you can't have this, that and the other, because you, the client, the person who's trying to diet, hasn't had the control over that decision, the perception of restriction is more negative and the adherence is much more likely to be worse. And again, when we're having really good days, don't avoid having a sweet treat, because when things go bad, the chances are you're going to do the stark opposite of what a good day looks like, which if we took away all these sweet treats when we have a bad day, you will binge. What we're doing here is by making sure that you have a sweet treat even when you're motivated not to, as long as it fits in your calories, we're taking the hold that those particular eating habits of sweet treats have on you in a negative context. So it's about improving your perceptions of restriction, giving you tools that are going to help you long term to be adherent to a calorie deficit. So that's my take home, guys. Calorie deficits don't need to be fixed. They can be fluid, flexible. As long as the overall deficit ends up being correct, you will still achieve exactly the same results, but the chances are you adhere for longer and you get much better results. Have a great day, guys, and I will see you tomorrow.